Hi, my name is Jeannie, and for today I'm going to be discussing the Buddhist concept of happiness. What does happiness mean in Nichiren Buddhism? So this is a very loaded word because happiness means something different for different people. Happiness could mean like, oh, I'm happy because I have $1 million in the bank, or I'm happy because it's like I have just gotten a promotion. So happiness in Nichiren Buddhism is different. We actually classify happiness as two types of happiness. One is absolute happiness and the other one is relative happiness. So I'm gonna, this is from World Tribune. It's one of our, in Nichiren Buddhism, we actually have a website, and it's called worldtribune.org. It's actually a magazine, but there's also a website, and it also, I just love how it explains the two different kinds of happiness. So I'm gonna read from it and I'm gonna elaborate further. So relative happiness speaks of a condition in which one's material desires or immediate personal wishes are satisfied. While there's no limit to what we can hope or wish for, there is a limit to what we can have materially and how long we can hold on to it. So, for example, we may get something we want at this moment, but the fulfillment we enjoy from getting it will not last. Through effort and planning, we may develop and adjust our circumstances to our liking, thinking this happiness. But should the circumstances change or disappear, so will our happiness. Such happiness is called relative because it exists only in relation to external factors. In contrast, absolute happiness means that living itself is happiness. Being alive is a joy, no matter where we are or what our circumstances are. It is a life condition in which happiness wells forth from within. It is called absolute happiness because it is not influenced by external conditions. So attaining Buddhahood means developing absolute happiness. So I'm going to explain that because that's kind of out there, especially if you've been just introduced to this practice, or if this is the first time you're hearing about Nichiren Buddhism. So relative happiness, and to relate it to my life, I've chanted Myoho Renge for 13 years now, and I did chant for 2 promotions. And that was before. When I started, I was like, I'm gonna chant for promotions, and I did, and I was absolutely happy. Like when I got promoted the first time, I was like overjoyed, and the second time I was promoted, I was like even overjoyed. I was like, yay, this is good, this is great. But then I realized it didn't really last long because along with the promotion came the stress and the responsibility of taking care of people, that were under me. So I had to supervise them. So I actually supervised maybe less than 20 people and over a dozen people over the course of those 2 promotions. So maybe more. I dealt with a lot of people. So that happiness didn't last long because it was like just relative, it was based on external circumstances. So we always have this, like when we chant for a job or promotion, or we chant for money, we're happy, but it doesn't last long because let's say you get a promotion, or you get like money, someone gives you money, a commission and stuff. Yes, you'll be ecstatic, but then along with it comes paying the bills, paying taxes. So it doesn't really last long. Same with this was years ago when I started my relationship with my now ex. So I was overjoyed. I was like, yes, this guy's the one. I was so happy, and it was like we had a honeymoon effect. We really were like inseparable. we did things, and I was happy. And I said, yay, I'm finally happy. But then when he left, when he disappeared, when he broke my heart, that happiness turned into suffering, because it was relative happiness. I based my happiness on something external, you know? And right now, I really can't explain it, and maybe it's because I've been chanting for 13 years. I really am happier, not because like I'm in a relationship, or not because I have a job, or not because I have money in the bank. I'm just happy to be alive, and I'm happy because I'm chanting Myoho Renge, and I was able to overcome a lot of stuff. And I mean a lot of stuff. But through it all, there was a pattern. I would have suffering, and then I would overcome that, then there's joy, and then there's problems again, and then I would overcome that, and there's joy, and then problems, and then I would overcome that, and there's joy. So there was a pattern, which made me realize, like, oh, as long as I chant Myoho Renge, nothing outside of myself will prevent me from being happy. I will just transform any suffering, any hardship, anything negative, or what we label as negative. I will transform it and make it and turn it into something better. So finally I realized, after 13 years of chanting, of course, it doesn't have to take long for you, because you have the videos that I'm sharing, so maybe you'll do better. But after chanting for 13 years, I realized, like, oh, I can actually be happy no matter what. I can absolutely gain absolute joy, and really joy and happiness that comes from within, that does not depend on external circumstances. And actually at a point in, like, oh, I have a problem, yeah, okay, I have Myoho Renge, I can just chant and I can transform it. And to have that in your life, it's a really good, and the greatest benefit, actually, to just know that you actually have something, a tool that you can use over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, that will just build up your life force, your happiness, your level of happiness. And right now it seems so strange, but I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm really happy, and then there's no reason why I'm happy. This is crazy, you know? And to just wake up like that, to be joyful and to be happy, knowing that no matter what comes your way, when you chant Myoho Renge, you can turn a source of suffering into joy. And to relate that to my life, so as I said, I was in a relationship, and I had that honeymoon period, was like, whoa, he's the most perfect guy, this is it. But then when he disappeared, I was so depressed. But because of that, I realized, like, oh my God, I actually survived that, and I emerged from it a better person. And I enjoy my company. I love who I've become, you know, and I'm stronger. And actually, because of that became the catapult for me becoming a writer. I actually write with the theme of man hurts woman, woman emerges victorious, and that's a theme in my books. And isn't that wonderful, that to create that and to have that happiness, that level of happiness, that no matter what happens, I've got this. Nothing outside of myself can destroy me, or can take my power away from me unless I allow it to. So that's the power of Myoho Renge. That's the power of chanting Myoho Renge. And that's the difference between relative happiness and absolute happiness, you know. And actually, like, because I listen and I read a lot, there was this guy, and I think he was in the in Florida, and there was a hurricane, and he lost his home. And someone was asking him, like, oh, aren't you sad and depressed that your home is gone? And he said, not really. I have me, and that's all that I need, you know? And he had that confidence to say that. And that really is true. You have yourself. And plus the tool of chanting Myoho Renge Kyo, you can turn into any suffering into joy. And I've tested it over the years. You will not believe the things I've been through, but to emerge out of it, it's like, okay, I think I'm like a cat. I've survived a lot, and I've emerged victorious through it all. And to just really be grateful, like, oh, I went through that, and I was able to overcome that. So this practice must be really powerful. That's why I continue to chant, you know, no matter what. You know, even if I'm lazy, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to wake up early in the morning because I have to start my day with chanting, because otherwise, and this is how I can explain it, when I chant Myoho Renge Kyo more, I have more influence over my world and my reality, and in a positive way too. But when I don't have enough chanting, external reality will influence me more. So it's like, oh, okay, so now I get it, you know. So do try, if this is the first time you've been chanting Myoho Renge Kyo, or this is the first time you've heard about Myoho Renge Kyo, I'll provide a link. It has all the resources, basically, and it has the meaning as well, why you should chant Myoho Renge Kyo and the meaning of Myoho Renge Kyo. Basically, the gist of it is, when you chant Myoho Renge Kyo, you activate that inner absolute happiness that is just knows no defeat. It's like indestructible happiness. And that's what I've discovered through chanting Myoho Renge Kyo, that indestructible happiness and joy that comes with just knowing that no matter what happens, I can use Myoho Renge Kyo to overcome everything. And turn it into a source of even greater joy. And you know what? It's so crazy, but maybe 2 years ago, when I was dealing with my heartbreak, I did not see myself emerge from it at all. I was like, I don't think I can survive this. You know, I was so depressed. At one point, I think I was even like suicidal and stuff. I was like, oh, I don't want to live anymore. And I was in that source of, I was really suffering. But for me to emerge out of it and to be even better than I was before, that is to me a miracle. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't believe that I went through that, but I went through that. And not only that, I was able to transform that suffering into a source of joy. And it's so amazing now. I really am happier, and I'm like, yay, I'm happier. Like, now that loser is out of my life. Yeah, but no, there's no blaming, and that's a joke. There's no blaming in Nichiren Buddhism. I attracted that guy for a reason, you know. He came into my life to teach me a valuable lesson, and for me to emerge from it and to have a comeback, which I never expected would happen, which is I never expected I would be able to emerge from that at all. But I just continued to chant Myoho Renge Kyo. I chanted like a lot, and I chanted a little, and I chanted a lot, and I chanted a little, and I chanted a lot, and a lot, and a lot, and I was able to transform it into a source right now of joy, and I have books to prove it. You know, I have a new career, which is writing, because of that. And that would never have happened. This would never have happened if I did not go through that. And so that's the lesson between absolute happiness and relative happiness. You know, when you chant Myoho Renge Kyo, you know, your source of suffering will be your source of joy. And that's the simplest explanation. So you can try it out if this video resonates with you. And if you're an old-time member, maybe this is a review. If you're not feeling absolute happiness and joy, maybe there's something you need to do. But if you've been chanting and then stopped chanting, maybe now's the time to really reflect and pick up your practice again. Okay, so thank you very much. I'll provide the resources on the show notes. Thank you very much, and chant Myoho Renge Kyo.